In this video, we'll be starting a brand new Melee Terraria Let's Play, but I will be playing on Master Mode, so that means there's going to be a lot of death and a lot of pain. So, like any Terraria player, I started the playthrough with a small amount of deforestation, where it begins to rain, which can only mean more enemies and bigger, tougher Giga Chad umbrella slimes, which makes life in Master Mode suck. So I decided to make a quick base to hide from the oh god flying fish! Here's a tip for the new Terraria players. If you don't got a house, go mining. It's surprisingly much safer than staying out at night, especially when you've just started the world. So I enter the local cave, lose a chest and then get killed by the same flying fish and a blue slime, marking my first of many deaths to come in this playthrough. So anyway, I build my house because caves are not safe. Spent some time standing in my house before getting bored and going back down the cave, but this time there was no flying fish to tear my guts open. Oh nice, a minecart track. Found a desert temple, which is cool, and then I found the coin portal, which is even cooler, and then a sandstorm in a bottle? Oh my god. Feeling good, I hop back into my minecart, wondering what else I can find. Found some grippers, which ain't terrible, and then I found my first life crystal. Found a neat looking glowing shroom biome in which I promptly died, so I decided to go to the ice biome and immediately died. Enraged that I died in the ice biome, I angrily explored the jungle and immediately died again.
It's gonna take so long to get back.
I spawned back to my house in the middle of a bloody blood moon, which could only mean one thing. So I retreat back to the much safer caves and find more helpful stuff, where I find this sweet ass, sexy looking ice blade, which instantly solved most of my enemy problems. Honestly, ice biome is the best biome in Terraria. Prove me wrong. Found a new minecart track. Awesome. Bumped into the skeleton merchant, which is nice. Found bugger all in this chest and then died. Feeling confident about my new sword, I began to mine for platinum ore to make a brand new shiny set of platinum armor, which should be more than enough to protect me from the Eye of Cthulhu. Found some ice skates while mining for platinum ore, which is great because I always struggle to find these in literally any playthrough I've ever done. Ended up finding the neon moss cave, which just reminded me of the green looking PCs people like during their 2010s. Kept looking in any chest I found, eventually found an ice boomerang, which is really good boomerang. Found another ice blade, yay. Went back up before night and then started building an arena ready for the eye. Buffed up my health with the remaining life crystals and finally summoned the Eye of Cthulhu. I used my sword, which I fully expected to do frostburn damage, but apparently that's not a thing. I tried being cool and varied by using the shroomerang I had. Realizing that I suck at the game, I tried to do a last-ditch effort to abuse the nurse's healing, but got trapped and died to the Eye of Cthulhu. In a fit of rage, I stormed the jungle and I immediately died again, only to spawn back into a slime rain event, which was good because I needed a gel and to beat up the weakest boss in the game and to feel much better about myself after losing to the Eye. After a short while of mass slime annihilation, the big bouncy thick king of slime himself shows up, and now is the time to prove myself that I am not the beta Terraria player that I thought I was. I got really close to defeating the King Slime, thinking I was going to win, but I died. I died to the King fucking Slime. Realizing that I'm clearly missing something, I had to set off on a search to upgrade my setup. So the first thing to do was find a wooden boomerang. So I scanned the surface and it didn't take long to find the wooden boomerang. With the wooden boomerang, I then created an enchanted boomerang and then created a tremorang, which was the most powerful pre-boss weapon obtainable, right? Has to be. You know, so many crafting things to do with it. Must be powerful. As I was exploring the caves after finding a desert cave, I got a warning text that the Eye wanted to come and bully me again. And this time I came prepared. I had the fucking Trimmerang, baby! There was no way the Eye of Cthulhu could beat me this time. Honestly, I think the Ice Boomerang is better than the Trimmerang. I wasn't about to let this slide, so I buffed up with my potions and this time I was properly prepared. I cutely begged the Eye for a rematch and this time I finally defeated him. I now had the Shield of Cthulhu, which was one of the best items in the game in my opinion, but it wasn't enough quite yet. I needed more. Knowing that the ice biome is the single most bestest biome in the game, and also realizing that the normal cave biome has been so useless, I go to the ice biome to search for some flurry boots, and wouldn't you know it, I finally found them. Feeling more powerful, I decided to go looking in the jungle biome to find nothing except this cool fishing rod. But finding the flurry boots made my life insanely easier from now on. And to prove that, I decided to make a crown and challenged a big juicy blue boy to a rematch. It was an easy match, and I didn't even come close to losing this battle with my new shiny boots. And I collected a King Slime trophy and added it to my collection. After this, I needed to prepare for the Eater of Worlds. So I needed the Feral Claws and the Blade of Grass. I searched far and wide for the feral claws, but I couldn't find any, so I just went back home and crafted the blade of grass. I eventually found the feral claws after a bit of digging, and now was the time to prepare for the Eater of Worlds fight. I went to the corruption biome to make an arena, only to realize that I don't have much experience with the Eater of Worlds, especially on Mastermode. So to be safe, I needed to get a lot of potion buffs. Now this ain't modded Terraria, so making potions is actually a lot more grindy than I suspected. So I went back home from the corruption biome and had a big search on what I did and didn't have, as well as doing some research on actual crafting recipes for potions. So anyway, I found a couple of gravitational potions instead and decided to procrastinate from making any of the potions I actually needed, and then started to search the skies for sky islands. I didn't find much, but as the last potion started wearing off, I noticed a blood moon was going on, so I teleported back down to face it. This was a good opportunity to obtain the shark tooth necklace, which basically let me do extra damage to enemies and bosses, which is really handy for a melee playthrough, or any playthrough to be honest. Thankfully, the blade of grass shredded through the hordes of zombies and blood creatures with absolute ease. Luckily for me, I did actually manage to pick up the shark tooth necklace, but now it was time to obtain the materials I needed for my potions, which meant fishing in the corruption. How fucking great. So I found some pool down on one of the trenches in the corruption and then realized it was too shallow and then had to make a bigger one underground. But even though it was semi-underground, that didn't stop the onslaught of enemies that would constantly spawn in my area as I was trying to fish. However, the Terraria gods decided to bless me from this nasty scenario with a goblin invasion, which is amazing because the goblin tinker is actually really useful NPC. Normally the goblin invasion is a breeze, but these goddamn annoying little archer knobheads quickly became the bane of my life. After the goblin invasion, I then went into the underground caverns to search for the goblin tinkerer, and just as I was about to give up, he spawned right on top of me. I went back up to the surface with my freshly bought rocket boots and tinkerer's workshop and crafted my spectre boots. Then I used those spectre boots with my anklet of the wind and aglet to make lightning spark boots. Then used those ice skates I mentioned earlier and crafted the frostbark boot. Not wasting any time, I went back to the corruption with my brand new shiny boots and fished up the remaining fish for my buff potion. I then got on with making a makeshift arena, which I thought would suit a fight with a giant purple eyeball worm that splits off into smaller segments constantly. Went back home to make those potions, then came back to the corruption, buffed up, smashed 3 shadow orbs, which then summoned the Eater of Worlds. Turns out, the arena I made was really good because I could climb up and down with ease and take full advantage of the worm's AI. But then for no reason I decided to abandon my arena and go into this den in the landscape where I got cornered. I thought this was my end, but I was tanking every hit like a queen. This is the true Terraria melee experience. But I remembered I wasn't invincible, so I ran and healed up but forgot this was Master Mode, and the Eater of Worlds could fire fleshy projectiles at me. This didn't faze me though, as I brute forced my way to victory, defeating the Eater of Worlds and claiming the relic and the awesome drop called the Worm Scarf. I equipped the Worm Scarf, which gave me more damage resistance, and went back home and added the relic to my collection. I then used the shadow scales dropped by the Eater of Worlds with my demonite bars to create the Nightmare Pickaxe, which is the key that catapults me into pre-hard mode godhood. So now that I have the demonite pickaxe, I then immediately start digging an elevator, collecting obsidian as I went. Crafted obsidian skin potions and jumped into the fiery depths of hell. Once I got enough hellstone, I came back to the surface, crafted the molten pickaxe, armor set, and fiery greatsword, which is now known as the volcano. Then decided to test my luck on a lava charm by fishing up obsidian crates from the lava lakes in hell. Although reflecting on it all by editing this, I realized that I can just fish in any old lava lake. So I kind of just wasted my time being killed a bunch by a bunch of hell enemies. So I grinded and grinded, fending off the hell enemies, and after all that, I still didn't get the lava charm. I eventually died from a demon, and when I spawned back, there was a slime rain, so I could kill the king slime all over again. After the king slime fight, I brewed up some potions to prepare myself for the Skeletron fight. Now, Mastermode Skeletron is a bitch to fight. Those stupid homing schools that always manage to get the best of me. Okay, I'm sorry, but I forgot to press record when I defeated Skeletron. So please don't be mad. I promise I didn't cheat. So I quickly went through the dungeon looking for 2 specific items, the Cobalt Shield and the Muramasa. As soon as I got the Muramasa, I tested out how strong the blade was. I think it's really powerful, but it's a shame how late you get it into the progression during the normal playthrough. Well, my normal playthroughs anyway. Then immediately crafted the Knight's Edge, which is definitely one of the coolest melee weapons in Terraria. And to show off how powerful this weapon is, I headed to the closest beehive to face down the Queen Bee. And to no one's surprise, I absolutely demolished her, adding her trophy to my collection. All I have to do now is prepare for the Wall of Flesh fight. And the Wall of Flesh requires a fuck ton of space, especially in Mastermode, so I had to blow up half the underworld and place one massive platform by hand while fighting off hordes of enemies. Every person who has to fight the Wall of Flesh has to go through this at least once in a Terraria playthrough, and it's the worst thing ever. Unless you play modded, you can just... Well, anyways. After I was done, I had collected plenty of guide voodoo dolls, so all there was left to do was to fight the fleshy wall himself. Oh wait! Alright, one more time. Okay, so it's definitely because the hungry have more damage the lower the Wall of Flesh health get, and they spawn quicker, they get faster. And I think it's also because of my lack of mobility. I really need those Terra Spark Jews.